Already, by my voice and how I'm dressed, you've drawn certain conclusions. Some will turn out to be true, some will turn out to be false. Some of your thoughts are positive, some are negative. All that you're doing is part of a natural human process. The only problem is you're all wrong. You don't even know me, so how can you categorize me already? I'd like to share a few experiences so you can get to know me better. It all started with a twinkle in my father's eye. Okay, maybe I didn't need to share that much. So who am I? I'm a Harvard grad, Canadian-born son of Jamaican immigrants. I've worked as a bartender, bus driver, blackjack dealer, furniture mover, garbage man. I traveled through Europe shortly after the fall of the Berlin Wall. I traveled to Africa and wrote a book called Not Yet African. I graduated UC Berkeley Law School and worked for a prestigious law firm. And 10 years ago, my wife gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. And we fulfilled our dream to own a multicultural children's summer camp. Who else am I? I traveled the States in an '82 Chevy. I've committed immature acts. I've treated friends badly. I've acted based on prejudice. I've sat in a sewage-lined hallway of an inner-city housing project. I've sat around a moonlit campfire surrounded by singing children. Who else am I? I'm a Jamaican Canadian. Growing up as a black Canadian differs greatly from growing up as an African American. Canada is a country without a large black population. Less than 3% of Canadians identify as black, and most of them aren't from Winnipeg, where I grew up. Not necessarily a bad thing. In a nation with the world's only multicultural act, I learned not to demonize or denigrate people based on skin color, ethnicity, or religion, or whatever. I can't idealize Canadian culture, because like any society, it has its share of racism. It has its share of problems, including racism. However, a certain understanding and respect of people of all backgrounds thrives. Growing up, I sensed that people were Canadian and proud of being Canadian, while at the same time being proud of their particular ethnic origin. It's easy, a black, a white, and an Asian Canadian could easily raise their hands together and proclaim their national pride, especially if a great hockey game was going on. Up north, I was and am Canadian and Afro-Caribbean. My decades of American experience have been different. Here, people with my background are considered black or African American, sometimes other names. It's not American first and then ethnicity, it's ethnicity first, foremost, and forever. The odds of a black and a white guy reveling in their both being American are slim. A commonality with people of different origins is found way down the line, if at all. After college, I decided to go to Africa. Maybe I needed to go to find a tangible base, something I could call my own. I was stranded in an alien African-American culture. My heritage was Jamaican and Canadian. My people weren't from the South. I knew curried goat and rice and peas. I couldn't tell grits from greens. I knew hockey and snowsuits, not basketball and baggy pants. And I certainly did experience Africa. I spent 5, sometimes grueling months traveling through 14 countries. In small towns and villages, I was an honored guest. People with nothing gave me everything, but it wasn't all good. I remember hungry, Chadian refugee children desperately clinging to me as I waited for a bus. I recall tenacious Nigerian border guards unpaid for months trying to extort bribes. I relived watching multitudes of Congolese people packed into freight trains because their country's infrastructure was so shattered that no other transport was available. I remember having $1 in my pocket in a malaria-ridden village where the cure cost 1 cent. I relived being gazed at by a starving toddler and hiding to eat a pastry I was too desperate to share. But I returned from my African trip and back to American culture. From bucket showers to big screen TVs, from watching for others to watching for yourself. It was tough to eat, knowing that others were starving, tough to laugh knowing that children were dying, tough to smile remembering friends I'd left behind. But eventually I reemerged back into normalcy, got a TV so I could watch me some Sports Center. Started calling up friends and returned to the social world. A number of years ago, I was playing blackjack at a casino. But stay away from those places. Gambling, bad. Positive leadership, schoolwork, good. But anyway, my personal vices aside, a middle-aged white man with a scruffy beard, wearing a cowboy hat and a jean suit, sat next to me. By his good old boy demeanor and southern drawl, I immediately categorized him as a stupid redneck. Capable of coherent social interaction with only rednecks, and most likely a hater of black people. I looked for a different seat. There was none available, so I was stuck. To my surprise, my redneck turned out to be a gifted conversationalist with a wide range of interests in an easy manner. If he had a prejudice bone in his body, it was well disguised. I enjoyed our night's interaction. But my initial thought pattern was embarrassing. My whole life I'd been through experiences with people of different nationalities, economics. I thought that stereotyping did not impact my behavior negatively, that I was one of the good guys. But I guess I wasn't. Without taking the time to investigate further, I locked people into categories that did not challenge my worldview. And so a light bulb went off. I thought maybe I could get right in there and live with people of different backgrounds. Even for only a couple of days, I could inhabit the lives of people representing different segments of society. I could explore and break down stereotypes by delving beneath my veil of ignorance. For my collection of stereotypes, I chose a homeless man, a gay man, an NBA player, a suburban mom, a stripper, a corporate lawyer, a factory worker, a mother on public aid, an immigrant cab driver, and a policeman. I went where they went and did what they did 24/7, getting to know each person intimately. Hanging out with my shadow friends, I learned that stereotypes and appearances do not define a person, and that one can go beyond artificial limitations imposed by others. But enough about me. What about you? What about us? How can we forge a society where everyone can prosper? First, we have to stop our groupthink. We seem to enjoy confrontation, egocentrism, and general self-serving attitudes that only seem to get us at each other's throats. We have religions that proclaim to be the one and only and denigrate those of different faiths. We have political party backers that support only their limited agendas. We have supporters of athletic teams that attack those cheering for another team. Sure, group identity has its purpose, but being part of a group does not have to make us hurt others. We may identify with larger races, religions, occupations, and teams, but we are individuals first. So embrace your individual identity. Without knowing yourself, you can't know anyone else. Know your past so you can effectively move towards your future. It may be cheesy, but if you don't know yourself, you can't love yourself. If you can't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. If you can't love anyone else, then no one's going to be loving on you all that much. So know yourself and love yourself, and you'll be good to go. Try to shed personal biases. Unlearn the things that limit you. Take small children, for example. Say a 4 or 5-year-old looks at my skin tone. He or she will say that I'm brown, which I am. It's a sometimes negative societal learning that teaches that child that I am black. Unlearn the bonds that restrict you. Admit ignorance. That's the best way to learn. Personal experience can be your best friend or your worst enemy. You learn from your past, but it can sometimes limit you in your pursuit of new knowledge. Take, for example, an apple that is rotted out from the bottom. For someone checking it out from above, they see a shiny red apple, nutritious and delicious. But someone with a different viewpoint from below can be extremely helpful to that first person. If they can accept the alternate viewpoint that the apple is not as tasty as it looks from above, she could save herself from taking a nasty bite. Acknowledge this nation's sometimes painful history. This country all too regularly sees people of Middle Eastern descent detained and harassed because of their ethnicity, black men killed because of their color, gay people beaten because of their sexuality. But it also has huge potential to tap its diverse resources to produce awesome results. So let's acknowledge our problems, but it can be done as individuals. Don't run from scary conversations. Think for yourself and challenge others. Educate yourself. Talk to someone who will challenge your preconceptions. Read a book about someone whose life you knew nothing. Watch a TV show with a different perspective. It's easy to go through life, relying on surface beliefs and hard to challenge your prejudices, but like many hard things, good comes of it. So let's evaluate the information that we take in instead of just relying on those surface beliefs. Don't be afraid to break the rules if they need to be broken. People merely following rules help facilitate atrocities like the German Holocaust and American slavery. If you're stuck in the middle of the night in your car at a broken, unchanging red light in a small rural town, how long are you going to wait for a light that will never turn green? I'm not condoning random rule breaking, but let's not mindlessly conform, but rather consider the ramifications of our actions. All it takes to change our world is to be positive as individuals. So let's be positive in your own sphere. You don't have to cure cancer or forge world peace, but if you can, that's great. But little things count. It need not be groundbreaking, it need not be earth-shattering. Start with a word or a gesture, hesitation instead of rushing in wrong, a kinder word, a gentler understanding. If in your lifetime you affect one person positively, you've already changed the world for the better. Continue to maximize your potential. Know yourself. Always listen to what other people say. You don't have to necessarily believe them or do what they say you're supposed to do or not to do, but it can never hurt to hear someone else's opinion. Believe the compliments, ignore the insults, and always try to hear that constructive criticism, especially from your friends and especially when it's hard. That's when we reap our greatest rewards. If we can do any of these things, if we can work towards any of these goals, and all of these goals are lifelong commitments, soon we'll be on our way to enjoying the full potential that this nation can afford. Soon we will all have the freedom to be whoever we want to be. Thank you.